Bill Schneider. He's a professor emeritus for public policy at George Mason University. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, this is the first time a former U.S. president has faced federal charges. We want to, of course, add he is presumed innocent. But how significant is this?
It raises a very important issue that's likely to be central if Trump is the nominee in the campaign, namely electability. His Republican opponents in the Republican primaries, including Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, will argue that it's foolish for Republicans to nominate Trump because he's under indictment. He's facing serious criminal charges. And for that reason, he's not likely to be electable. And they'll claim you have to elect someone, you have to nominate someone for the office who is clean, and that these charges will distract attention from the issues he wants to raise in the campaign. Electability will become a central issue in the 2024 campaign.
But given what we know about his base and other Republican voters, is this likely to make any impact on them or the way they see Donald Trump as a potential nominee?
Not his hardcore base. We saw in the earlier case, which was a civil case, not a criminal case, we saw in the earlier case that his ratings among his supporters went up. He had actually got more support after the judgment was made against him in that civil case in New York involving payments to a woman he had had an affair with. But this is much more serious. This is a criminal case. It involves national security, and his opponents will easily argue that it could make him unelectable because he'll be standing a criminal trial at the same time he's running for president. How do you do that? We've never faced that in the past.
I want to paraphrase, but earlier the former president made a comment about this being a dark day in American history. You, of course, have covered U.S. politics for many decades. To our international audience, how would you describe what we're seeing here unfold? I mean, we've never really seen anything like this in U.S. history.
Never in American history have we seen anything like this. In fact, this is an unusual election in many ways. We have the likelihood, if Trump is the nominee, we would have two former presidents, each of whom served one term, Donald Trump, the Republican, Joe Biden, the Democrat, who are running for a second term. We don't know if this election, if Trump is the nominee, if this campaign will be a referendum on President Biden, as it's supposed to be, running for a second term, or if it'll be a referendum on President Trump, running for a second term. There are lots of things that are totally unknown and totally unprecedented about this election.
We understand that the former president could appear in federal court on Tuesday in Miami, Florida. What will we see likely unfold on that day? I mean, he's answering to this indictment. He's being formally charged. What are you expecting to see?
Well, I don't think we're going to see anything in court from the president that's likely to jeopardize his standing. But afterwards, he's likely to make remarks to the press. He's likely to send out tweets and comments to his supporters on social media, which he regularly does, claiming that this is all political. He wants to argue that this is driven by the Biden White House, by the Democratic Party. And in fact, Republicans in Congress have already started, or at least they're talking about starting an investigation of the FBI, arguing that it's being used for political purposes. Trump is trying to charge that the Justice Department, it's Joe Biden's Justice Department, is also being used for political purposes. His core supporters are likely to believe that and are likely to believe him when he makes that charge.
All right, Bill Schneider, thank you so much for joining us on this breaking story. We appreciate your time.